So I was talking to a friend at work, and we were talking about the DC during our lunch break. What's gonna happen with Superman? Blah 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 blah. He told me he hated Superman 2025. Hated it. And I was like, bro, what you talking about? Cause to me personally, and now you know I keep it real. I ain't no Soups. I got love for you, Soups, but I'm just telling you how it is. Well, amazing. Let's go. To me, I described it perfectly in a way where it was a typical 2000s blockbuster movie where you would come home, and I'm sounding like a broken record, but if you hire this movie at a blockbuster, came home on a Friday night with a couple of other movies, had a good pepperoni pizza, extra cheese, and watched it with some candy and a Slurpee, you'll be like, that was a good movie. You know what I mean? A couple of dollars well spent. Simple. There was not gonna be no, amazing. I don't know how I'm sleeping now. I gotta miss. Ooh. None of that kind of stuff. None of that kind of overreaction, but just quite simply a good movie. I like to compare it to how X-Men Origins was. X-Men Origins wasn't like the best of the best, but it was just good for the franchise, you know what I mean? See Wolverine and all that kind of stuff. Jimmy! Anyway, real ones will know. But yeah, that's the way I described it. Nicholas Hoult, by the way, my second favorite Lex Luthor. My boy from Smallville comes number one, but I'm talking about animation and all the other kind of Supermans. Nicholas Hoult, what? Yo, man, ate up that role. But I said I enjoyed it like that, and he was like, yo, and here's the thing when you talk about haters, they kind of infect you. And he infected me in a way that I never quite, expected, and I thought he had a valid point. And he was like, yo, man, it's Superman movie, but they ain't even make him the strongest character. And I stopped. I was like, the English language completely went out of my vocabulary. My brain started rotting, and I was like, could this be somebody's persuasion? It's getting affected by. Anyway, the point being is I was like, damn, continue. And he talking about stuff that was all valid. He was like, it was a Superman movie, but he wasn't even the strongest. Basically, every single character beat this guy up. And I was like, damn, that's true. That's true. If you think about it, a dude that can change into rocks made Superman weak. The nanobot hun and whatever, nano when he started choking and everything. He wasn't able to breathe, almost beat him up. The other Superman clone was about to beat him up if he wasn't a dummy, if it hadn't been for Lex Luthor telling him what to do. And I was like, damn. And they made him a B-list hero in his own movie. Even when he was fighting that huge monster, that was Mr. Terrific that took out the monster, bro. Mr. Terrific took out the monster. And we can all agree, Superman wasn't pulling out his punches. He even do that, Superman punch, and the monster just took it. Come on now. And once, I started thinking about it like that, and we started talking about it, I was like, damn. Like, how they gonna make a Superman movie where Superman ain't even super? And I think that's what took away from the movie a lot, man. You know what I mean? I think it's so cool to show that Superman's actually, vulnerable to such things. But to make him look like a B-list character, it does something to you. You know what I mean? To have every character beat up Superman, it does something. It's kind of like for all those Flash fans and all that kind of stuff, Flash, when they put meta bangles on meta humans and whatever power they have, it's just completely neutralized. Like you put a meta bangle on Flash and he can't run fast. And I'm like, such awesome power, such amazing power, and you're gonna put a bangle on my boy and he just turns into a regular human? Anyway, that's all I got for today, ladies and gentlemen.